Why fast food sucks now.
I'm going to show you a few different modern fast food locations with the logos removed, and I want to see if you can guess which restaurant it is.
I'm not going to be able to get a single one of these. Every fast food restaurant now looks the same. There was a time which like Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, Burger King, they all looked so unique in their restaurants. You can recognize it purely by the shape and aesthetic of the building. But now generally they all look the same. I think it's probably so that restaurants can be closed and opened more cheaply. Like you don't have to deck it all out in the Pizza Hut hat because that costs a lot of money. So now you just don't do that anymore.
Here is number 1. That is Panda Express.
I would not have gotten that.
Here is number 2. That
Taco
is
Bell?
Arby's. Here is number 3.
Pizza Hut.
That is Burger King. Here is number 4.
Chipotle.
That is Wendy's. Fast food restaurants
Oh, wow. Oh, for whatever 4 that was.
in America have completely lost their identity, but it doesn't stop at these soulless gray buildings. Fast food used to be cheap, tasty, and most importantly, fast. And on top of that, the experience used to be fun. Today, the color is gone. The prices for a meal are almost the same as a regular restaurant, and the service is slower than ever. But this did not happen by accident. In fact,
There's this YouTuber named Ethan Schlabowski. Where he does these like, can I make blank faster than ordering them? Where he has his friend go out and get fast food while he stays home and cooks the exact same meal. And essentially every time he does it, he gets done before his friend. And it's also cheaper, it's healthier, tastes better, there's more of it, etc. It's like the only thing fast food had going for it was, you know, cheap and fast. But now it just takes so much time, especially if you DoorDash. If you DoorDash, it could be like 45 minutes to an hour and a half before you get it. At that point, you could have gone to the store, come back and cooked your own food. All the appeals and the reasons for doing fast food just no longer apply.
it's all by design. And today I'm going to break down why fast food today is colorless, expensive, and slow. And while it might sound like all hope is lost, there is something you can do to change it. And if enough of us do that, we just might be able to return to the glory days. Modern American fast food buildings are the perfect representation of the soul that's been sucked out of the industry. What used to be these creative architectural fun houses have transformed into sterile gray boxes that are severely lacking identity. Some of them kinda look like modern homes, some of them look like banks, some of them just look like corporate offices. But when you remove the logo, you genuinely could not tell what restaurant it was. Compare that to what this architectural illustrator posted on Reddit. Even without the logos, you can still tell which
Pizza Hut, I don't know what that one is. McDonald's, White Castle, what is this one? I have no idea what that one is. Well, that's like Cracker Barrel, and then honestly the rest, I don't know, Pit Stop? I don't know what the rest of these are. But like, I get it. They're all distinctive and interesting.
building belongs to each fast food brand. Or can you? I'll see if in the comments one of you gets all 12 correct. Early Taco Bell locations were designed to evoke the look and feel of traditional Spanish and Mexican style architecture. The original buildings featured stucco walls, red clay tile roofs, exposed wooden beams, and arched entryways. Now, you get a gray box with a modern purple LED light.
Am I dumb? But I feel like I kind of like the new Taco Bell. Like, this is kind of cool, but I actually kind of like the
modern
this new design for Taco Bell a lot. I feel like it looks pretty sleek and good. I think a lot of them are really bad. Burger King, McDonald's, they just look terrible now. I actually really don't mind this purple and black Taco Bell look.
Purple LED light. Pizza Hut's red roof became such an iconic part of their design that now when a new business takes over the building and attempts to redesign, everyone knows it used to be a Pizza Hut. But today's Pizza Hut? Yep, another gray box. McDonald's used to have these big glowing arches you could see from a mile away. I was surprised to find out that there are still a few locations that maintain that 1960s vintage look. Take this Bloomington, Minnesota location for example. It still has the massive arches on each side, the red and white striped bricks around the edges, and red outline gives it this cartoonish but welcoming vibe. But sometime in 2023, they decided to get rid of all that charm and paint it gray. During McDonald's nationwide boom in the 1970s, they made a major rebrand to build locations faster. The red mansard roofs with the yellow accents that were supposed to resemble French fries is what most people remember visiting throughout their childhood. There are still a few locations out there that haven't been modernized. This one in Dunedin, Florida looks absolutely beautiful with the palm trees and the bright blue sky. Or check out this stunning Durham, North Carolina location. This photo was taken in 2021, but it looks like we took a time machine back to 19 1993. Sadly, this one was also painted entirely gray in 2024. Even this location outside of Disney World looked like a theme park of its own, and I'm sad to admit that this creative masterpiece has been replaced by what looks like a corporate headquarters. Now,
I understand it's like, well, look what we lost. Totally get that. I think it doesn't look nearly as good as like the more nostalgic things that we used to have. As far as just a building in a vacuum, I actually don't mind the look of this.
Now, one of the main reasons behind the gray box trend is that it's a safer, smarter real estate investment. This strategy leans heavily on modular construction and
oh yeah, if you're a real estate company, you don't want McDonald's coming in and rebuilding your entire building and decking it out with a bunch of brand specific things, because if that McDonald's were to shut down for any reason, then you've got a bunch of really expensive stuff that you have to tear off of it so that the next person can move in. It makes so much more sense if you're a real estate developer to say, oh no, I'm not going to do that. You get a gray box that if you move out, anyone else can move in, and you just take your logo on and off of it depending on who's there. Obviously, I don't like it nearly as much, but I also get why they're doing that. It's because it saves a lot of money when swapping between brands.
prefab standardized architecture.
I also don't think brand loyalty for fast food restaurants really exists anymore. I think maybe apps are bringing it back a little bit with like McDonald's having great deals and Taco Bell having great deals. But outside of like getting specific discounts for being a regular customer, I don't think people care which fast food place they go to anymore. The only thing we can all agree on is that Arby's is absolute trash.
When a previous brand needed a very specific build out, which usually came down to their custom roofs, it just costs more. And in a way, they're also preparing for their imminent failure, because these vague buildings can be transformed into just about any other business. In New Jersey, this Wendy's was transformed into a Burger King. In Missouri, this old Burger King was turned into a Wendy's. This former Taco Bell KFC combo was turned into a local pharmacy. And this former Arby's is now a local pizzeria. And to no surprise at all, the local pizzeria made a more charming and visually interesting design. Now, my favorite is when chains actually do the opposite of this, when they repurpose an old building, like this old bank in Wilmington, North Carolina.
That's actually really cool. I would still think this was a bank. I'd be like, what is going on there? Was this a prank? But I really love what they did with the place.
That was transformed into a Dunkin' Donuts. It's undeniably smarter and probably more sustainable to build buildings that can outlive the brand inside them, which will in turn reduce waste and provide opportunity to future businesses. But there's just something sad about it too. Each restaurant lost all its character. But it's not just the exterior that lost its character. The interior is where many of these places thrived. Stepping inside used to feel like entering a little world of its own. Taco Bell had these purple and teal Art Deco chairs.
Am I crazy? These look awful. I am colorblind, so take anything I have to say with colors with a grain of salt. But these look like trash to me. It looks like chewed up bubblegum.
Textured wall tiles and neon squiggles that felt like walking through a 90s arcade. People today would probably call this tacky, and they might not be wrong, but damn, it has an identity. Wendy's had an immaculate 1970s grandma aesthetic. Wood-paneled walls, stained glass lamps.
Is this actually a Wendy's? This is crazy. This looks like a throwback, like a 1960s throwback themed thing happening at an event center. I mean, this is, if all Wendy's used to look like this, truly we have lost and cannot come back. This is incredible.
Lamps hanging above every table, plush burgundy booths, and soft yellow lighting that made it feel more like a cozy living room than a fast food joint. And these sunrooms? Dude, these sunrooms absolutely ripped. Pizza Hut felt like a legit sit-down restaurant.
Pizza Hut lost something when they have removed their buffet option. I totally get that. Pizza Hut is one of the few places where I'd be like, yeah, no, you should keep it. The other ones, I don't really care about McDonald's. I don't really care about Wendy's, but Pizza Hut is where it was at. I think there's only like 3 left in the nation that have the buffet option anymore.
With thick carpeting, red vinyl booths, and those iconic Tiffany-style lamps that turned every meal into a dimly lit occasion. McDonald's had burger seats. Look at these burger seats.
This is the stuff of nightmares. These are horrifying.
Are they a little terrifying? Sure, but I think we can all agree that we want them back. And when management started encouraging a more kid-friendly atmosphere, almost every franchisee built massive playgrounds and indoor sets packed with massive tubes, nets, and ball pits to play in while the adults got to enjoy their meal. However, for years, McDonald's had been dealing with injury lawsuits where kids hurt themselves climbing around rope ladders and monkey bars. And
this kind of makes sense to get rid of, because if you're McDonald's, you're like, we're not necessarily getting more business because of this. The kids are coming in, they're having a good time, but probably they would have come in anyway to hang out. And if they really wanted a place to hang out, they could just go to a nearby park. It's not worth the cost of so many $1 million in lawsuits in order to get maybe a few extra people per year in. So it sucks that like lawsuits did this, but I also get it from the franchise's perspective.
A 5-year span alone from 1986 to 1991, 1,500 injury claims were filed against McDonald's when kids fell off their equipment or got trapped in one of their structures. Hundreds, if not thousands of injuries went unreported, and not to mention the sanitation concerns. Even as a kid, I knew those things were filthy. Some places have still tried to hang on to that old school charm well into the 2020s. I found this 1950s retro diner-inspired McDonald's location in Williamsburg, Virginia. They have a whole-ass 1957 Chevy on the inside just parked in the middle of the restaurant. This beautiful time capsule.
I respect the aura that this Chevy brings to the room. It just knows it's the coolest thing around.
57 Chevy on the inside just parked in the middle of the restaurant. This beautiful time capsule location was, you guessed it, grayed out and turned into another modernized hospital.
It's gone? They got rid of it? No, that's crazy.
Cafeteria a few years ago. A location in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn was redesigned to a 1980s theme for a Marvel movie, and to no surprise at all, everyone loves it. And even though it still doesn't look like a true time capsule, it's just enough retro and modern combined to give the place a lot more soul. And if you're watching this and you have a fast food location near you that still has some old school charm, drop it in the comments because I want to see. But the blueprint for the modern fast food gray box, the minimalism, the neutral tone textured wallpaper, the IKEA chairs that hurt to sit in, the inoffensive abstract art, the dim industrial lighting, it can all be blamed on Chipotle. Chipotle's early 2000s expansion marked a turning point in the fast food industry. Their concept was called fast casual. You still got your food quickly, but the experience felt more elevated. The menu was simple, the ingredients were marketed as fresher, and the interiors ditched the kid-friendly chaos in favor of something more modern. Because of this, they were able to charge a higher price, and teenagers, college kids, and young professionals were more than willing to pay. But they weren't just paying for vibes. Those 2010s Chipotle burritos were massive. You used to get at least 2 servings of food for one price, which made it comparable to 2 fast food trips.
I'll be honest, I haven't really been to Chipotle recently purely because their portion sizes are actively getting smaller. I know the CEO and the company and the PR department keeps claiming that they aren't, but they absolutely are, and I will not be gaslit into thinking that they're not. I know what I used to get and I know what I get now, and they are not the same.
Chipotle's success came at a time when McDonald's and other giants were on a rapid decline. In 2003, McDonald's stock price fell to a 9-year low, and in Q4 of 2023 was the first net loss in profits they ever had, losing $344 million. Public pressure around junk food intensified during this period. The Super Size Me documentary further tarnished the company's brand. The doc followed Morgan Spurlock, who ate at McDonald's restaurants 3 times a day every day for a month, consuming every item on the chain's menu at least once. At the end of the experiment, the 32-year-old had gained 24.5 pounds, a 13% body mass increase, increased his cholesterol to dangerous levels, and became the proof the media needed to paint fast food as the face of America's obesity crisis.
He was also secretly an alcoholic and didn't tell anyone till like 20 years later. So, I mean, take it for what it's worth. It's not that fast food's good, it's that documentary definitely lied.
So while McDonald's scrambled to repair its image, Chipotle was thriving, offering a cleaner, simpler, healthier experience that looked and felt like the opposite of everything fast food had become.
I bet if we check the calories, Chipotle would actually be not that many fewer calories than a McDonald's meal. I'm gonna fact check myself. Yeah, if I just get like what I would consider a pretty normal Chipotle order, burrito, I got chicken on here, white rice, black beans, and then some salsa, sour cream, cheese, romaine lettuce. This seems very normal. That's almost 1,200 calories, and this is before I even get chips. With chips and like dips and salsa and like anything else you might add if you get a soft drink, you're well over 2,000 calories here. So it's actually not that many fewer calories. Whereas by contrast, I think McDonald's, I think it's not that much. Yeah, if you get a large, about 1,300. So actually McDonald's might be fewer calories. To be fair, this is a lot more food than McDonald's offers, but they're pretty comparable as far as calories go. You can make an argument that Chipotle has more nutrition in it, but pure calories in, calories out math, they're kind of the same. So it's all about PR and public perception and not so much about the reality of the health.
Response months, McDonald's started the Forever Young campaign to transform the playground feel into a cafe-style space. What resulted was a push for a more contemporary aura, accented by terracotta, olive, and gray colors paired with wooden furniture. Of course, other fast food restaurants saw this change and followed suit. I also believe that the success of Starbucks and maybe even the Apple Store had a big impact on the aesthetics of fast food chains. Starbucks proved that people would pay a premium price to hang around in a space that felt upscale. And
yeah, that aged pretty poorly. Starbucks has been doing badly for like the last 2 years now. People are not interested in paying overpriced prices for mediocre coffee.
Apple taught the entire retail world that an ultra minimalist design could signal trust and quality. Today, seemingly every fast food chain takes a little bit of inspiration from Chipotle, Starbucks, and the Apple Store, which has majorly contributed to them losing what made them special in the first place. Fast food restaurants were meant to be bold, fun, and kid-friendly, or even calm and cozy sit-downs for the family. But designers lend...
Maybe I'm in the minority here. I couldn't really care less what a fast food restaurant looks like. All I want it to be is it tastes pretty good, is relatively fast, or at least faster than it would have taken me to actually make my own meal, and also relatively expensive, something comparable to what I would have made myself. Whether or not it looks pretty kind of doesn't matter to me. I am a bit of a minimalist in my day-to-day life, so maybe that has something to do with it, but I mean, branding I can't really be chuffed with branding.
Rosenbaum and Michael Muchoff told the YouTube channel Cheddar that the design choices are nothing more than a marketing tactic.
We have to be perceived as new and fresh and offering food that is new and fresh. What has changed within our restaurant? We want to communicate that to the customer on the outside, and the easiest way to do that is through architecture and interior design.
How can we make it look healthier, but not actually make it healthier? That's basically the gist. I don't think any logical person is expecting fast food to be healthy, but the risk used to be worth the reward. Because beyond the building design and modern branding, it seems like they aren't even trying to make the food look or taste good anymore. The burgers aren't even close to as advertised, with buns flat as a pancake and lettuce that looks like it was left out all night. Places like KFC refuse to change the oil in their fryers, so you can't even taste the chicken anymore, and those so-called crispy fries you ordered look like they were defrosted, placed under a heat lamp, and served without anyone noticing they missed a crucial step. Even legendary YouTuber The Report of the Week, who has spent the past decade reviewing fast food menu items, just about had a meltdown over the decline in quality and service across every big chain in the US after countless bad experiences in 2023.
Instances not as bad as this, but where there have been problems with my order, with the quality. It's just elapsing more and more. And it's not just Culver's. It's every place. McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, Taco Bell, you name it. There have been so many places, and I'm sure you've noticed this, that I've reviewed in the last couple years, where the food has just been awful. It's quite frankly disgusting. I hate when this happens. And what bothers me even more is when it's becoming more and more of the norm. When I'm trying out these sorts of items, and time and again, it's some burnt piece of garbage. It's some just vile slop, for lack of a better word. And it's getting to the point now where pretty much every other item that I review is just, it's disgusting in some way or another. Or it's just so overpriced that it might be alright, but it's like you're burning your money. What's even the point?
But even if...
I feel like the one restaurant that's notably absent from things are getting worse is Chick-fil-A. And I think the reason for that, obviously Chick-fil-A has its own problems. I'm not going to pretend like they don't have their issues, and you are well within your rights and understandable reactions if you refuse to ever go to Chick-fil-A. But they're a private company. They're one of the biggest fast food chains that there is, and they're privately owned. So they don't have shareholders that they have to keep pleasing. They can afford to pay their employees more. They can afford to spend a little more on fresher ingredients and hand bread their own chicken in the back. Chick-fil-A maintains really good quality, really good consistency. Is one of the few places that I feel like actually stays pretty fast, because they have crazy amounts of employees in the back at all times to make sure stuff's fresh. And when you go through the drive-thru, like a physical person is taking your order right there. So it's more efficient and faster. The Taco Bell where I used to live, almost every single time I would order, my order would be messed up. It was just something I knew going in. I was going to spend $5 or $6 and it was going to be wrong. That was frankly fine because I got used to it. But I've never once had a bad experience at a Chick-fil-A where they didn't at least least comp me more coupons in the future in some way. They always went out of their way to make up for it if it was a less than stellar experience. And that's purely because there is not shareholders that they have to please. It's a private company. If they make a little less money this year than last year, nobody cares.
Fast food companies lost the fun, lost the undeniable guilty pleasure taste. At least it's still cheap, right? Nope. Chick-fil-A, Arby's, Wendy's, Jimmy John's, Chipotle, Taco Bell.
Average price increase of 10 different menu items. McDonald's has, in the last 10 years, they've gone up 100%. This is like doubles or triples inflation. Popeyes is 86%, Taco Bell is 81%, Chipotle is 75%, Jimmy John's, dang. I mean, Chick-fil-A is, again, it's still high, but Chick-fil-A and Burger King are on the lower end. To be fair, Chick-fil-A is expensive, and I think there's a reasonable argument that it is overhyped for what it is because it's really expensive chicken. But as far as service goes and the quality of food, it is pretty good. I will maintain that it is good.
Popeyes and McDonald's all raised their prices by 55 to 100% between 2014 and 2024. Most of us can remember a time where $5 could fill you up at most restaurants. Maybe you'd snag a couple of grillers or a fill-up box from Taco Bell, a McDouble, McChicken and fries, a famous bowl from KFC, and even if you wanted to get full meals, you'd still spend less than $10. What I found shocking is that Columbus, Ohio has the most affordable fast food in the country, but meals still cost $10 on average. Most cities average $12 to $13 for a fast food meal, and I can say with certainty, at least where I live, that there are plenty of local restaurants serving way better food for $13. Some McDonald's locations were charging as high as $18 for a Big Mac meal. In 2024, the McDonald's president, Joe Erlinger,
I'm sorry, can someone teach this man how to put his AirPods in properly? What is this?
attempted to address many of the concerns that Americans had with McDonald's prices significantly rising. What's funny is that they made this graphic that claims to debunk a bunch of myths, while claiming that the facts state that they have only raised their prices by 20 to 40% since 2019.
I remember when this came out, all it made me think is that McDonald's is desperately trying to gaslight me. It made me lose so much respect for the brand. Obviously, I don't have a lot of respect for McDonald's, but man, people are saying, hey, fast food's getting too expensive. McDonald's was actually losing customers, and they weren't losing money, but their profits were decreasing quarter over quarter because people just weren't interested in paying prices. And then instead of like increasing the quality, making the food cheaper, doing something that people would actually enjoy, they put out this saying, actually, our prices haven't gone up. I was like, this is not the move, brother.
Like they put this obnoxious claim as a myth. McDonald's medium fries increased by 138%, just to attempt to soften the blow when they say that the fact is that the average price of a medium fries was a 44% increase. Like we're supposed to be like, oh, only a 44% increase for fries that are soggy, cold, and take 20 minutes to get? That's so much better than 138.
It's also not even true. If you look at the data collected by the company that put out the report saying it was 100% and so on and so forth, they cite all of their sources. And I think you could have an issue with that if you want, but they cite all of their sources and how they collected the data and where they got it from. And the McDonald's is like, actually, that's not true. But then they don't tell you where they got their data from. It's just one big trust me, bro.
8%. The reality is that fast food has entirely changed its value proposition to customers in America. It's no longer about being cheap. It's about being lazy. A professor of marketing at Johns Hopkins said, these chains are not charity organizations. They are not trying to serve cheap food to people who are complaining about high prices. They're trying to get people who have either stopped going to the store or never went there. I suspect the value pricing approach is working for McDonald's. Okay. So they killed the vibes.
Is it working for McDonald's though? I could have sworn that I've seen a lot of articles talking about how they are losing money quarter over quarter. I guess maybe it's not working, but I don't know. They've had a lot of dips. If we go like from there to there, they're not up very much. I guess they're up 33% in the past 5 years, which is not bad, but in the past year, they're actually down in the past year. So I'm not thinking that this is working particularly well for McDonald's, especially when you consider that like the SP 500 over the last year is up by 14%. And over the last is like almost 100%. So McDonald's being up by less than a third of that, they are not keeping up with everyone else.
Ruin the taste, charge way too much money. Is it at least still fast? Well, kinda. The speed of service has drastically decreased as Americans become more dependent on the drive-thru. America runs on urgency. Our cities are built to drive around, not stop and hang out in. Our work weeks are packed, our commutes are long, and our breaks are short. Everything in our culture tells us to move faster, work more, and consume more. So we designed an entire meal experience around not having to stop moving. Pull up in your car, order before you speak to a person, get your food in a brown bag, and don't even look look inside until you're already merging onto the highway, and stuff the fries down your throat with one hand while the other is on the wheel. Drive-thrus aren't about convenience. They're a survival mechanism for a society that doesn't have time to sit down. But now even that convenience is starting to collapse. What used to be a 3 to 5 minute pit stop has turned into a 15+ minute wait behind a line of frustrated drivers.
Even if you want your food faster, you gotta park and go in. Every time I'm on a road trip, I never take the drive-thru. It takes so long. You park, go in, you're done in about half the time because everyone else is taking the drive-thru. Nobody wants to get out of your car. So if you're the one that does it, then you will be rewarded with faster service.
Places like In-N-Out are facing major problems with lines that literally cause traffic on the highways next to them. Pretty much every Chick-fil-A I've ever been to around lunchtime has 2 rows of 20+ cars bumper to bumper. And
that is absolutely correct, but man, Chick-fil-A powers through those people. You will almost never wait longer than 10 minutes at a Chick-fil-A, no matter how long the line is. They are so efficient at getting people through the drive-thru.
Many locations are trying to combat these frustrating wait times by having staff walk around with iPads so you can get that somewhat satisfaction that your order is being taken care of, but it doesn't make the food come out any faster. Now you might think that removing drive-thru—
It actually does, because when they put the order in, they go ahead and start cooking it in the kitchen, and usually Chick-fil-A averages far more employees than any other restaurant that I've ever been to. So I think it actually does help increase the speed.
In some locations, or incentivizing walk-ins would somehow speed things up. But fast food restaurants have done their homework. Research shows that 47% of US consumers would simply avoid going to a store that doesn't have a drive-thru, and twice as many people prefer using the drive-thru to going in store. And that's because of the American go 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 culture, as well as us not prioritizing eating as a meaningful experience. It's just another task to check off the list. Meals in other countries are a cultural staple, a time to slow down, talk, share, and connect. Americans treat eating as something you do out of necessity between meetings, in traffic, or while staring at your phone. And I'm talking to you, who's literally eating a meal while watching this right now. The obsession with quick service, combined with fast food's obsession with margins, is slowly turning these restaurants into massive robotic garages, like this concept released by Taco Bell in 2022 for their new vision for making service easier than ever before.
Okay, again, call me crazy. I actually don't mind this. Like, you drive it, you order somewhere, then you drive in. A lot of this is automated with some people up top. They drop your food down, you grab it and go. The idea is that it's drive-through, but much, much faster. And I think they were also talking about putting other restaurants in here too. Like, it could be a Taco Bell, a KFC, or a Pizza Hut. I think it was something like that. But there are a bunch of restaurants that operate up here and they just drop the food down. This seems like a good solution to me, because I feel like a lot of people don't want to get out of their cars and actually go in. They would rather pull up, get their food, pull out.
Taco Bell in 2022 for their new vision for making service easier than ever before. Or the new designs Chick-fil-A is rolling out that prioritize quick service. Or Jimmy John's cutting down the size of their restaurant to resemble more of a studio apartment. To make it even more streamlined, restaurants are releasing AI menu stands that replace human staff members, and the responses have been mixed, with some customers praising the decision and others arguing this is one step further in the wrong direction. So correct orders and no more attitudes for no reason? More jobs with human contact are going away. With fast food restaurants doing everything they can to make service seamless, and Americans demanding even more convenience, how far away are we from a robotic arm extending from a building and just dumping the food right into our mouths? But as grim as the future looks, there is a way to fight this. There is a way to demand change, get better quality food, better prices, better speeds, and an all-around better experience. The solution is quite simple, and it's being implemented all over the world. Fast food is better outside of America, not just by opinion, but by design. Many nations have stricter regulations on food quality, preservatives, and sourcing. In places like Japan, France, or Germany, the ingredients are often fresher, the portions are more balanced, and the presentation is far more respectful of the
I don't think she wanted to be a part of this picture.
dining experience. But this change didn't necessarily happen out of respect, it was by force. Like in France, when 5 activist farmers tore down a McDonald's that was being built in the southern town of Malau in August 1999. They handed out Roquefort cheese at the protest, which they said was to denounce US import restrictions and hormone-treated beef. But this was a calculated attack. In that same week, French farmers dumped 6 tons of manure on
The French protest like no one else. 6 tons of manure at a McDonald's restaurant that they didn't want there? Incredible. No notes. Carry on.
McDonald's restaurant in Arles. This was a symbol of resistance against American food imperialism and the spread of unhealthy, standardized meals. And it wasn't just about the food, they were defending culture, agriculture, and tradition. And it worked. French consumers began demanding locally sourced ingredients, and McDonald's responded. Today, around 75% of the food served in McDonald's France is sourced domestically. Now, this doesn't mean go and destroy your local McDonald's, but it is—
Well, we're not destroying. We're just dumping 6 tons of manure on it, which historically we've seen does work. So, if any one of my subscribers has a farm near them, just let me know in the comments.
proof that a protest goes a long way. Also, McDonald's Europe became the first food service retailer in many markets to sell Marine Stewardship Council certified sustainable fish. The MSC is widely considered the gold standard certification for sustainable wild-caught seafood, because if they did not meet these standards, then European countries would simply not allow them to serve fish. In India, they mostly don't serve beef or pork items due to religious values held by the citizens. In China, they serve taro pies. Taro is a plant native to Southeast Asia whose roots and leaves are used for food in this region. In Saudi Arabia, 100% of their menu must be halal. Therefore, all products served at McDonald's restaurants are inspected and approved by local authorities and Islamic inspectors at the countries of export. The point is, McDonald's and other fast food restaurants will abide by socio-cultural, religious, food preferences, and environmental factors, or they will simply not be allowed to serve food in that country. And they might even complement the country with a vibey atmosphere. They'll serve food in decommissioned planes in New Zealand, a colorful building pagoda in China, or a ski up in Sweden. The end result: better service, better food, better vibes, and customers who treat eating as something worth sitting down for. All of these point to the fact that fast food restaurants can still be colorful, fun, cheap, and have the best quality food available for their meals. It's just that they only change when people finally start to walk away. This is not the answer you want, but it is the truth. Sure, the buildings are gray and bland. Sure, the service is slow. Sure, the food doesn't taste as good and corporate greed is driving up the price. But you can protest. You can just stop going, and they will be forced to resort back to the things that made these restaurants special in the first place.
I think this is probably the best thing you can do, is just choose not to go. And I know a lot of people are going to say, yeah, but I don't have time to cook. I don't know how to cook. I don't have the ingredients. It's really expensive to cook. That is all very true. But I guarantee you, with just something like a crock pot or an air fryer and then just a little bit of prep work on Sundays, you can have meals for the whole week that are so much cheaper, so much healthier, so much more filling, and they will stick it to McDonald's and other restaurants that know people are desperate and hoping that your desperation leads you to eat there. The best thing you can do is say, I'm going to find another way to do this, even if it is a little more inconvenient. If enough people do that, then we get change. If enough people don't do that, then we don't get change. That's just kind of how it works.
But until most of us refuse to order from these fast food restaurants, then nothing is going to change.
Great video. That was Why Fast Food Sucks by Patrick CC. Thanks for watching.